Right, I have had an absolute disaster in game week 31. I've dropped from 85k overall to 128k overall. So a 40k red arrow, a 50% rank drop. Absolutely terrible. But I'm going to put that behind me and look ahead to game week 32. And here is my team selection for game week 32. Right, we're going to start off by looking at my goalkeeper and defenders then. Petrovic in goal, who has been an absolute disaster since bringing him in on the wild card. I also went for Areola as the other goalkeeper, who is now injured. I don't know what I was thinking really going for a Chelsea keeper, but I just thought the fixtures were really kind. He was making a decent amount of saves. I felt Chelsea, they may have kept some clean sheets, but that definitely hasn't happened so far. I've got no choice really but to start him in game week 32. He's got Sheffield United. If they were to ever keep a clean sheet, it's going to come in that one, right? Bradley, Gabriel and Udogie as my starting three. I do have Gusto on the bench, who could well come in place of Bradley. I think genuinely 50-50 on that one at the moment. I'm starting Bradley at the moment just because I think Liverpool are a better team than Chelsea. But ultimately, you know, starting Gusto against Sheffield United is not a bad decision either. So I'm staying 50-50 on those two. Gabriel and Udogie, I think, are bankers for me. Gabriel, I think he's the best defender in FPL right now. Arsenal looking really dangerous from set pieces and seemingly the only team in the Premier League that can consistently keep clean sheets. Yeah, with those things in mind, I think he's the best defender in the game. And Udogie, I'm lucky really with him. It says 5 million there, but I've had him since the start of the season up from 4.5 million. So I've actually grown a lot of value out of him in the time he's been in my team. So selling him kind of be a bit of a shame. But yes, I do think he'll be all right for this game week. He's got Newcastle in 33 and then he blanks in game week 34. So that leaves me with a bit of an issue and I could be looking to replace him. One player I could bring in to do exactly that is Aït-Nouri. I really like the guy at the moment. Looks to absolutely be nailed on in that Wolves starting 11. And he actually started at left wing in game week 31. He played as their left winger and he could have had a brace. He obviously scored in game week 31, but genuinely he had 2 chances to score and was unfortunately he missed the second. He's got a really decent run of fixtures coming up. West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Arsenal and Bournemouth in a double, and then Luton in 35. Come game week 36. Probably going to be able to bench him for someone else. He's got 5 attacking returns in his last 6 games in all competitions for Wolves, which for a defender is insane. And I think, yeah, genuinely you can start him every game week for at least the next 5 fixtures. 22 starts, 3 clean sheets, 3 goals, 2 assists. Most of those attacking returns, like I said, have come in recent fixtures. I think of all the defenders in FPL outside of the ones playing for Arsenal, maybe Liverpool, Aït-Nouri is great, and at 4.7 million, I think he's a nice price, and I could drop Udogie for him. Onto the midfield, we've got Salah, Palmer, Son, and Saka as my starting 4. I think genuinely these 4 at the moment are the best 4 midfielders in the game. Yes, Saka's carrying a bit of an injury and missed out in game week 31. I know that. I still think he's the best of the Arsenal midfielders, who are the top scoring league in the division, let's not forget. And I do think he's going to be back fit to start in game week 32. So yeah, Brighton is a good fixture. I do expect Arsenal to net a couple, maybe a few goals in that game. So yeah, obviously starting Salah for that one. Sorry, Saka. Salah and Palmer, they're my 2 sort of captain choices. I mean, genuinely, you could captain Salah, Son or Palmer quite conceivably from this midfield. I'll get on to captaincy a little bit because I've got some stats that might help you make your own decision. I'll come to a conclusion on who I'm going to captain there as well. So stick around to the end of the video to catch that. I've also got Sarabia on my bench. Thankfully, he came off the bench in game week 31 with his 6-pointer. I can't really justify starting him in 32 though compared to the other players that I've got. It's a shame, but he's just going to have to stay on my bench. Up front then, we've got Haaland, Darwin and Solanke. Darwin Núñez played 90 minutes against Sheffield United. Never in a million years did I think that would happen. I actually thought he'd be dropped for that game, so I was really just pleased to see him start. And to actually have him score and play 90 minutes is pretty incredible. That does sort of lead me to question, is he going to start against Man United? Because we saw Cody Gakpo come off the bench and score against Sheffield United. He's not really been in favour at all, Gakpo, in that Liverpool team. I'd say he's played really poorly recently. But that goal against Sheffield United could have earned him a start in that Man United game. That's all I'm saying. I'm still obviously going to start Darwin Núñez, but I guess every week, really, there's a risk that he doesn't start. Haaland and Solanke, my other 2 strikers. No way I'm selling any of those guys, I don't think. Haaland, Darwin and Solanke, considering 2 of those 3 have got a double in 34, and outside of that, Haaland is, I think, still the best forward in the game, regardless of the current form that he's in. Yeah, I still think he's the best option in that forward position, and obviously not playing in Game Week 31 means he's definitely sure to start in Game Week 32, in my opinion, against Crystal Palace. So that's my front 3. The one remaining decision I've got is out of Salah, Son and Palmer, who am I going to captain? And in terms of that captaincy decision, I thought I'd put together a few forms of expected points data and then actually comparing not only the players in terms of stats, but also their opposition as well. Because I think, yes, you've got to compare the players like for like, but also the quality of fixture that they have, or lack of quality of the opposition that they have, to determine who is the best captain. So a quick look at a couple of expected points sources. First, Palmer leads the way in terms of draft time expected points. He's on 7.8. Son in second on 7.6. Salah, Haaland and Johnson are the other 3. So Draft Hound is telling me to captain Palmer. Looking at FPL review, Palmer doesn't even appear in the top 5 at the moment. I'm taking this cut just after Palmer has played Man United. That could well change given how well he played in that game. So if you want to look yourself, check the FPL review website and likewise the Draft Hound website to see if those expected points figures have been rehashed since I made this video. FPL review currently have Son and Haaland as the joint top expected points players for Game Week 32, which is interesting. Basically saying you should captain one of those 2, which are kind of my least favourite 2 options. I personally think the captaincy for me is between Salah and Palmer. We'll just have a look at the stats. So what I thought I'd do is put together, like I said, a stats comparison of the 4 players and then the fixture, the team that they're facing in Game Week 32, basically. Son, Salah, Palmer, Haaland, I think probably the four best players in FPL right now. Looking at their stats individually, I'd say Salah and Haaland are definitely the leading 2. They've got over 1 expected returns per 90, so that means every time they step out onto a football pitch and play 90 minutes, they're expected to get an attack and return. Palmer just quite close there in second place, 0.8, and Son on 0.61. One thing I would say about Heung-min Son is he is historically an XG overperformer. You can see there he's got basically 9 XG and 15 goals. Now that's not an anomaly. Son has done that throughout his entire time playing for Tottenham. So the expected data when trying to look at Son is kind of a bit misleading. I'd look at him like for like in terms of goals and assists. And you can see them there, right? Like for like goals and assists, it's really close between the 4 players. I mean, most of them have, 15, 16, 17, 18 goals and then just under 10 assists. So it is really close between all of them. Leading me on then to the fixtures. Son has got Nottingham Forest at home. Haaland's got Crystal Palace away. Salah's got Man United away. And Cole Palmer's got Sheffield United away. So when you compare the 4 teams in terms of goals conceded, XGC and XGC, expected goals conceded across the last 5 games, what I thought would be useful is not only comparing these teams' stats across the season. A couple of these teams, well, 3 of these 4 teams have changed their managers and their ways of playing throughout the season. So just looking at their season-long stats is not necessarily the best comparison. What is, I think, a bit better is looking at their XGC for the last 5, and that actually compares how well they've been playing under their new respective managers. And when you look at that, Sheffield United are the worst team on this sheet. 12 expected goals conceded in the last 5. Man United on 10. Crystal Palace, who Haaland has got on 8. And Forest also on 8.14. There's very little to split Forest and Crystal Palace in terms of XGC for the last 5. But across the whole season, the same kind of stats sort of ring true. Sheffield United being the worst defence, Man United being the second worst, Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest being much of a muchness. So for me, I'd probably favour Son with the home fixture over Haaland at Selhurst Park. So Haaland's probably in 4th, Son in 3rd. And then at the moment, I'm really torn between Salah and Palmer. I honestly don't know which way I'm going to go, to be honest. I know I said I'll make a decision based on this, but I'm still a little bit torn. I'll show you my team as it is at the moment. So I've gone for Salah purely because I just think he's, over a longer period of time, a bit more of a proven asset. And I just think that Liverpool as a whole are a better team than Chelsea. And I'd probably back them to score more goals as a team against Man United than Chelsea will against Sheffield United. Looking at the quality of the defences, not a great deal in it. Man United slightly better than Sheffield United. They do actually, to be fair to Man United, they concede a lot less goals than their expected goals conceded. I actually think that's down to the quality of Onana this season. He's actually played really well and prevented quite a lot of goals for United. Obviously, Sheffield United conceded 77 so far this season. I think I'm just going to go for the tried and trusted Salah, but I'm not going to absolutely categorically say that's my decision. You have to catch the deadline stream basically to see who I go for, because it's definitely between Salah and Palmer. I'm still a little bit undecided. It's on Salah at the moment. The one transfer I am going to make, I've already done it actually. I've done Areola to Dubravka. I was a little bit worried about Areola dropping in price anymore, bearing in mind I had 0 million in the bank, absolutely nothing in the bank. So I needed to make that move now just to make sure it was possible. I'm a little worried about Dubravka's safety in that Newcastle team. I think he's been playing really poorly in goal. Their other backup keeper is Karius, which is quite funny. So it'd be interesting to see if Dubravka actually gets dropped. But given that Nick Pope has had a setback in his recovery from his shoulder surgery, I think Dubravka is going to play for a little while longer. And given that Areola, he's out, looks to be injured for a few weeks, I think it makes sense to go for Dubravka right hand. I'll probably need him in game week 34 when Petrovic plays Arsenal. And obviously Dubravka has a double in 37, so if he can survive for that long, that would be quite nice. So I think it makes sense to do that. Outside of that, I mean, I don't think I can sell Udogie just yet. I think that's a bit of a luxury move to get 8 Nori, particularly considering I know Udogie blanks in 34, but he will likely double in 36 and 37. So I'll be moving off of Udogie to get 8 Nori at 4.7 million. And then because Udogie is now 5 million as a buy, I wouldn't be able to get him back in my team. And I think I'd still be able to start a fairly respectable back four, set of 3 defenders, provided Richards is fit for game week 34 in the double. I'll have 3 doublers with a bit of luck if Richards, recovers in time. So I just can't justify the 8 Nori move, but that's my team, hoping to claw back some ground in game week 32. Alright, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and found it useful, please leave me a like rating. It really is tough on captaincy this week. I said it on my Ultimate Guide video. We've got some updated data from the games that have actually been played out in Game Week 31 now, so we can make as much as an informed decision as we can ahead of the deadline. Like I said, I'm close really between Salah and Palmer. Could go either way for me. Let me know in the comments what you're going to do. If you want to see more content from me and you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the Goal and Gold channel. It should be just here on your screen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.